Now, can your employer fire you without giving any reason at all? This is one of the most vexed questions in labor law, and today we'll look at the Supreme Court decision that helps us to understand this. All courts follow the Supreme Court on points of law, so when the Supreme Court speaks, we must pay attention. Margaret was a field service representative at Halliburton, one of the world's biggest oil giants. On 4th May 2018, she was suddenly walked out with a termination letter, with no reason provided and no warning. She was just given 1 month's salary and shown the door. But Margaret was a founding member of the Workers' Union, and they took the fight to the National Labour Commission. Her colleagues suspected that something unsettling was happening. Some weeks earlier, Margaret had refused to handle certain chemicals. It was shortly after that she received her termination letter. The union believed that the company had found a very clever way to punish her without addressing the alleged misconduct. Under the collective agreement, any disciplinary action required a verbal and written warning ahead of termination. Halliburton had skipped all of it and dressed the termination up as a clean contractual notice. The Labour Commission agreed with the union and found that Margaret's termination was completely unfair, especially for failure to use a grievance procedure. They awarded her with 1 year's salary in compensation. Halliburton appealed all the way to the Supreme Court, and things got interesting. The Supreme Court drew a sharp line of distinction. Speaking through the eminent Kulendi, JSC, court indicated that under the collective agreement there were two separate routes by which employment could be brought to an end. The termination route by notice as applied to Margaret, which only required notice or payment of salary in lieu of notice, and the grievance route, which was triggered only where there was staff misconduct. Halliburton had taken the first route, and they were not alleging any wrongdoing. They simply ended the contract by notice exactly as the laws permit under the Labour Act. The court was clear that an employer does not need to give reasons when terminating by notice under the Labour Act. The same way you can resign without explaining yourself, your employer can also let you go without explaining themselves. And because Margaret's collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, had the same provisions as the Labour Act, it offered no better protection and it could not save her. Halliburton had won, and the termination was held to be completely fair. So what do we learn? If you are an employee without a collective bargaining agreement, termination by notice may apply, and in that instance, your employer does not need to give any reasons. If you have a collective bargaining agreement, it only protects you if it actually gives you more than the labor law provides. It must provide clearly for termination with reasons. If it provides nothing beyond termination by notice, then that is what applies, and your employer can walk you out the door without giving you any reasons, and the law will back them. What do you think? Follow Super Law GA Studios for more real stories, real cases, real people.